Good day, and here we are with Freedoom. What is Freedoom, you might ask? Well, it's exactly what it says on the aluminum casing. It is essentially a free version of Doom. It has its own sprites, own enemy sprites, and things of that nature, but really it's designed to be used with other WADs, as it can act as its own iWAD. And of course, it's compatible with Project Brutality and Brutal Doom. And of course, we're going to be playing through a little bit of Outpost Outbreak. I had discovered this years ago, but I just never really played it all that much until I saw a random YouTube video of it, and I was like, oh yeah, that exists, and I went ahead and acquired it. And, well, I have been enjoying myself quite a bit. I have not finished all the WADs, because there's quite a few, and there's even a Doom 2 one as well. The levels are very well designed, really above average when it comes to WADs. This is exactly what I've wanted to play for some time, actually. But I thought I'd go ahead and record mainly because I wanted to address the Doom explication. Because it's not a review, it's an explication. And what the thought process behind that was. Essentially, I was thinking, what can I do about Doom that hasn't already been done so many times, since it's a very popular game? And I thought, you know what, why don't we have Doom be reviewed from several different perspectives? Because that's not something you really see all that much. I think GeneralLotz has done a few things where, like, there's alternate versions of themselves, but I tried to make it to where it's more of a review than it is just, you know, a one-off character showing up or something like that. And also, you point out, look at how advanced these WADs are. Look at that, where this level is here, I should say. Just look at it. Look at how complex it is. It's absolutely amazing. This is free, and this is the iWAD you can bloody well use. Absolutely amazing. But anyway, what can I do? And I thought, you know, a alternate version of GeneralLotz. This, of course, has been seen in the past in some of my videos. You know, I have little one-off characters here and there. I try not to take away too much from the actual reviews themselves, just because I know that can get kind of annoying. But I had a number of concerns, actually, with doing this grumpy GeneralLotz character, and that was, I was afraid some people who actually, I knew people were going to agree with what he was saying, because I've already seen it in a variety of places where people have been complaining about Doom 2016, and I knew that some would agree with what I was saying, but I didn't want those who agreed with what I was saying feeling like I was mocking them in some way, because they're perfectly valid opinions, you know? Not everybody has to like the same game. It's just, I really like Doom in pretty much every conceivable way. I like the music, I like the gameplay, I like all that. But I can see how somebody would hate it, because there's people who hate, you know, Brutal Doom and Project Brutality, because it differs so much from the original Doom gameplay. So if they didn't like that, they're really not going to like Doom 2014, or 2016, whatever. Doom 2014, in an alternate universe, it came out 2 years earlier. But was it actually as good? The world may never know. But, yes. Doom 2016 was a very pleasant surprise, but I can understand why some would absolutely despise it. Now, I have been thinking more about what the actual Prime reviews could entail. I've actually been thinking to myself, is Doom 2016 going to stand the test of time, like classic Doom has here? And I just don't know. I hope it does, because I really do enjoy it, but I think the main issue that I can foresee with Doom 2016 is its lack of really concrete modding. Snap Map is good, don't get me wrong on that, but it is very limited because it's designed for consoles, and you know, in the past I would have complained about that, but I can't really complain about it now, because when you really think about it, it makes sense that they would go kind of console first, but since the PC port is as good as it is, I can't really say that that's necessarily a bad thing. They're going where the money is, you know. Probably more people are going to play it on the console than they are on the PC, unfortunately. So they have to have some sort of mapping tool for it. But what you got to keep in mind, though, is that at least it's there. You know, it's kind of one of those things of be thankful for small miracles. At least we do have Snap Map instead of nothing, because there's no map maker for COD or anything like that. So at least there's such a thing for Doom, and it makes sense. And, you know, Multiplayer for Doom isn't any good. Well, I haven't played it, but from what it looks like, it isn't any good, or it isn't really amazing in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, at least it's better than it could be, I think. Although that's sort of damning with faint praise there. The big problem is, unless when I finally do play Doom multiplayer, it blows me away, literally. I'm just gonna say that it doesn't even stack up to, you know, the original Doom multiplayer, because I played original Doom multiplayer quite a bit, and I didn't play it back when it was new, because back then, you know, I didn't have the kind of internet connection necessary to do it, and I had no interest in multiplayer games back when Doom multiplayer was even new. But around 2010-ish, I started playing it, and I really enjoyed it. I really, really liked Doom multiplayer, and that was that predated Brutal Doom by a bit, you know. And just on its own, it was really good. So it had big shoes to fill. I think for the single player though, Doom 2016 is as good as Brutal Doom, and it is as good as Project Brutality here. There's a lot of really cool enemy types, and there's just so many different elements to the single player that I think they really nailed it on the proverbial head. If you were going to make a modern-day Doom game, I don't know how you could make it any better. And that's effectively what I'm going to say in the Prime review. I mean, what else could they do, you know? Everything they've done, at least in my opinion, has been exceptional. And you're not going to please everybody. You're not going to be able to please the purists, you know. And I like to consider myself kind of a purist in some respects, but I know I'm really not, because I do like a lot of the modern conveniences. Like here, you know, I like to be able to look up and down. I like the expanded HUD here. The HUD, you know, this HUD that I'm using here I really do like, because it does let me just at a glance see just how much ammo I have. But I do like a lot of the conveniences, so... And I also have regenerative health installed, but you kind of need that in Project Brutality here, because this is really tough most of the time, and you never have enough health, it would seem. But and I really liked, going back to Doom 2016, the glory kill system, because it made it feel so different from other first-person shooters. Yeah, I know it takes away from the shooting a little bit, goddammit. Takes away from the shooting a little bit, but it's still just not that big a deal. It's cool that it's there. It's not just... It allows Doom to stand out that much more, I think, than if it was just, you know, your typical shooty, shoot game. And once again, that's going to piss people off, but, you know, at least they try. At least they were trying. I think we should really praise them for that. At least they weren't playing it absolutely safe. They didn't give you regenerative health. They didn't give you any of that. They gave you a pretty challenging game. At least I find Doom 2016 pretty challenging. When I was getting the gameplay footage, I actually had to stop for a little bit because I was dying so much. But then again, that's my game skills, you know. I was doing better than that Polygon video. Even I saw that, and I don't really follow internet news. That was just... I mean, literally you could program a bot to do better than that. I mean, okay, let me put it this way. If people say that I play about as bad as Partner AI, imagine how bad that was, okay? Like, fucking Osimo could play the game better. And I don't mean the Cartman version either. But, you know, it just comes down to which you find fun. And I still find Doom 2016 a great deal of fun. And yet, you know, I still play classic Doom. It's fun to play both. It's good that it's good that both can kind of complement each other in some respects, you know? And Doom has been one of those rare games where if I'm not feeling like playing a game, Doom 2016 that is, if I'm not feeling like actually playing any sort of game, and I end up playing that for whatever, like, okay, you know what, I'll play it for like 5 minutes, then stop and go to bed or something like that, I find myself continuing to play it. That's pretty good. There's only one other game that really does that, and that's the one we're playing right now, you know. So, it's got that going for it. It's got a lot going for it, really. And id Software, even though none of the original guys are there, the new guys did good. They did good, and I'm definitely going to get that across as best I can. It is funny, though, that a lot of the modern reviewers are not talking about Brutal Doom, and that's not surprising. I mean, one of the reasons why I like doing these YouTube videos is because I do talk about things that no other YouTube reviewer really talks about. I mean, like most of your famous YouTubers, if they talk about Doom, it's always the console ports. It's always, you know, like the Xbox 360 version. Even though, you know, a little bit of research, and I think it would please the fans more also. Hey, look at that voxel key. Oh my god. But yeah, if they did a little bit of research, I think it'd please the fans even more if they showed a more modern version of Doom than just a console port. Because, like, seriously, like, James Rolfe, you know he has a computer powerful enough to run this. You know that. So it's like, why doesn't he just use that? I mean, I know that he's more of a console guy anyway, but still. I'd really like to have, you know, an auto shotgun at some point. I normally am just shooting about that. What is the... Let me check the Project Brutality settings here. Yeah, it's on dynamic... Oh, it's on dynamic progression. Okay. Let me set that to alternative here. Because I would really like to actually get some better weapons than just my basic shotgun here. Because this is a game where you need rapid fire and things of that nature. What really inspired me to actually do some recording tonight, because it's evening where I'm at, way later than it should be, and I should be snug in my bed, slumbering. I was actually listening to a random album on YouTube. It was a tribute album for Dio after he died. I forget when he died, actually, but he died somewhat recently, which is very sad. And he wasn't even that old, either. But it was a tribute album for Ronnie James Dio, and they were singing some of his favorite, or not his favorite song. Well, they might have been his favorite songs for all I know. His famous songs. And I was listening to Last in Line, that's what it was, as sung by Jack Black. I like his singing abilities, but one of the things, when I was younger, I was a big fan of the comedy band Tenacious D. It was him and the comedian slash actor. I don't know if he was a comedian. He was an actor, though. Kyle Gass, I believe his name was. I used to listen to them when I was younger. And I don't mean like a teenager. I mean like when I was like, well, I guess if I was 18, I would still be a teenager. But anyway, it was like 18 through 20, I guess, is the general age I would have been. And I was a big fan of them. I found them to be quite entertaining to listen to. But I found myself, you know, recently going back to them, like a couple of years ago, it's like, they're not really that good. They got like maybe one or two good songs, and the rest is just kind of average comedy. But Jack Black actually sings, you know, real music. He's actually really good. I think his vocal stylings are quite good. So it'd be nice if he actually sang real music instead of, like, the crap that Tenacious D sings. Because, like, okay, if you think of Tenacious D, assuming you've heard of them, what is the one song that comes to mind? There should only be one. And that's going to be Tribute. And that's a really good song. But it's like the only one that's any good. I guess the metal's also decent, but it's more of a movie song than anything else. But it's like, that's the only one that anybody thinks of as Tribute. And that's because it's like one of the few good songs that they've done, which is kind of annoying to me, because I'd like to hear something else other than that. And like some of those songs will start off really strong and really good, and then it'll lapse into comedy, like one of their songs, City Hall. It starts off really good, and then it slows down into a comedy routine, and it sucks. Hell, half of their first CD that they did is just really crappy comedy routines that aren't funny. Whereas the little bit of music that's on there isn't bad. And apparently Tenacious D had a TV show. I have seen a little bit of it, and well, all I can say is Jack Black has come a long way since then in terms of actually being funny. It's one of those shows that, like, it was on HBO, and I guess if you know anything about HBO, they have some really weird shows on at times, you know. I mean, they weren't always the Game of Thrones powerhouse that they are now. They've always been well known for, I think, sort of alternative programs and things of that nature, but I've never been a big fan of stuff like that, you know. It's just like sort of that surrealism kind of thing. That's just not my thing. I've never been a big fan of weird shit. I'm not saying it's shit, I'm just saying shit in the general term. weird stuff, weird things. Not what you would call, well, although I do like to think of myself as a bit of an artist when it comes to making these videos, but I'm not like an arty kind of person where, I don't know what that big lag spike there was. But I'm not what you'd call like a super art type of person, you know? So I just can't really appreciate those kind of shows like that. I'm not really sure what we're supposed to do in here other than... Maybe there's something here I'm supposed to grab, or is that just for shotgun shells? I don't know. Like, although I will say this though, I ended up not liking Game of Thrones after a while, and I've read some of the books. Read the first two, and they weren't bad, but it's just so unromantic. They're so depressing most of the time. And it's like, okay, now what? You know, it's like, and like all the cool characters are dead, and it's like, okay, who do I root for now? I guess Jon Snow, but you know, it's like, it's a bit too depressing even for me, and it's really caught on with a lot of other fantasy series, you know, it's where they got to be unremittingly depressing over and over again. Okay, so we got the blue key, and it's one of the things. These are very long and sprawling levels, but they're so depressing. I read a book called Grim Company, and I remember posting about it on Facebook, like, yeah, this book's so great. And then I finished it, I was like, well, that was the most depressing shit I've ever read. And yeah, I kind of take that back. It's not good. Don't read it, or read it and be depressed. It's like, for me, when I started with fantasy, I started with Dragon Age Origins. At least in that, there's some happiness in it. And then, as for fantasy novels, I started reading Warhammer Fantasy, which is still my favorite fantasy series or franchise. And it's depressing at times, but the heroes are heroes, and they end up winning, usually. Or breaking even, you know, and that's good. I mean, Gotrek and Felix, you know, isn't a light-hearted romp most of the time. But you know what? Gotrek is a good guy. Felix Jaeger, you know, he's a good guy. You know, and they usually, well, actually they always end up slaying the evil villain, you know? And that's cool. But, you know, it's like, there are no heroes, only villains. It's like that, okay, fine. You know what? If I want to read that, I'll read the fucking news, okay? Alright, now see, I have literally no idea where I'm supposed to go. Maybe I missed something? Did I really miss that door? Okay, so there's got to be something in... Oh. Okay, I thought that just went to the other side of that. Ah, well, I got the chain gun, so I'm not complaining too much on that. Like, I remember a really funny comment. It's like, is GeneralLotz just playing this, you know, autonomically? He's not even paying attention? And you're right, I am. Just sort of, my brain just wanders and I talk whilst playing this. Because, like, I'm just so used to playing Doom and things like that. Let's save, shall we? So used to playing Doom, you know. I would do, you know, Let's Play a Doom, but I can barely run that thing. And I would imagine it would, like, fuck up my audio. I hope that lag spike didn't desync the audio. I'd hate that if that was the case. Because I never can resync audio. That's why I fucking love Fraps, you know, because it syncs it up already. But, yeah. Game of Thrones is not my cup of tea. Currently reading the Black Guards or something. It's not too bad so far, but it's definitely more depressing. The only reason I'm not reading anything like Warhammer is because I've like gone through a massive number of them and I want something new. Another bunch of books I'd recommend too is the Star Trek novels by Peter David. Peter David is a very famous writer. He's done comic runs. I think he's the one who made the Incredible Hulk not suck as much. But I never was a big Hulk fan anyway, so I couldn't tell you one way or the other. But he is a really, really good Star Trek writer. I mean, absolutely excellent. I've already read a number of his books. I'm already running out of them. But I've been enjoying his work, and that's what I am reading along with Black Guards, I think is what it's called. I think that's the name of it. It's a long-ass novel. So I'm kind of reading both. But yeah, he really knows his Trek, though. And he tries to keep stuff consistent. And, which I always like, because that's one big problem with Trek, is the inconsistency of it. I actually have some, a friend, actually, who absolutely hates Trek, because I can only assume they watched like the first 2 seasons of TNG, but then again, I don't know, TNG, the first 2 seasons of TNG weren't that bad though. I mean, they weren't good, like, at all, but they weren't terrible enough to turn me off of Star Trek forever. But Dr. Pulaski, man, fuck that bitch. And I don't normally say that. Dr. Pulaski, you know, disrespecting Data and all that, unforgivable. Okay, let me change that key binding. There we go. I don't know why that keeps not doing it. Yeah, these grenades are a lot less powerful than the Brutal Doom grenades. Like, you throw it, it just boom, barely does any damage. But, oh well. But yeah, I did hate Dr. Pulaski, and there's a lot of logic issues with, like, the first 2 seasons of TNG. TNG, I could get into arguments about this. Got my auto-shotting, finally! I can get in arguments about this all day long. I still say DS9 is superior to TNG and TOS in every conceivable way. I mean, DS9 had really, really consistent writing throughout its run. Okay? You didn't have the difference between Season 1 Picard and Season 7 Picard. Season 1 Picard was a smug asshole, Season 7 Picard, much less of a smug asshole. I guess you could say that that's like, you know, character development. I just liked, you know, Captain Sisko, or Commander Sisko, depending on which part of the series you're in, so much more, you know. He was a cool guy. He was my favorite captain. Although I can see why people would like TOS the best still. Because, you know what, I've kind of started to defect to the Kirk Brigade, you know. Because, you know, I can see Kirk was a lot more willing to break the rules. You know, he kind of would do what he always wanted to do. So, like, some of the times when Picard would just, you know, do the whole Prime Directive thing, because I think everybody pretty much hates the Prime Directive, and with good reason, because it's a really stupid law. You know, Kirk would fucking just say, "Go fuck yourself," and do it anyway. You know, and do what needed to be done if he needed to help people, which is good. And Picard would do that after he moralized about it and made an ass of himself. Sisko, I don't think was a big deal. Was really that stupid when it came to the Prime Directive, and then Janeway. Well, the less said about her, the better. And you know, Archer, I think it was a big problem with bad writing more than anything else. With Archer and the whole of Enterprise, I blame a lot of its problems on just shitty ass writing. That's what I always say. You know, because when Season 4 came along, you know, that was a much better show. I really liked Season 4 of Enterprise, actually. And there were good little bits of good little bits of Star Trek all throughout the first 3. But yeah, most of Enterprise was complete suck. But then, you know, TOS was interesting. TOS, I think it was just a product of its time in some respects. There were some really good timeless episodes. There's even some halfway decent episodes in Season 3. Now, for those who don't know anything about Star Trek, Season 3 is, like, considered the shittiest of all the seasons. Fuck! Run! Shittiest of all the seasons, because they had no budget and stuff like that. So that's where you had, like, the Spock's Brain episode, which I didn't think was that bad. I haven't seen it in years, but it can't be that bad. And so what? They took his brain out. Deal with it. I need to watch Spock's Brain again just to see if it is as shitty as everyone says it is. Oh yeah, I can go through here. But I've already been through it. Is that a secret? No, it isn't. But yeah, you know, Spock's Brain is always considered like the worst Star Trek episode, but I don't know if I'd say that's the worst. There's a lot worse. And also Season 3 was the one where Frank Gorsha showed up, or Gorshin, I forget his last name. Something like Gorbachev, I don't know, Frank Gorbachev. That's who showed up. The Riddler from 60s Batman. He showed up. I forget what character he played, but he was in it though. But you know, Star Trek, the original series, I think it's held up pretty well. I like the remastered original series though, with the modern day computer graphics. Oh, he has no head. I like the modern computer graphics. I know that's not. I'm not a purist, okay? If it's good, it's good. That's why my SKS has, you know, synthetic on it. All right. That's why I just. It looks better, you know? That's why, you know, on my videos, some games that aren't in 1080p, I'll try to find a mod that'll make it in 1080p. So that's just me, you know? If I can make something I like better, I'll do it, you know? Although I say that, and I have not seen TNG Blu-ray yet. I have not... I don't know if it really needs Blu-ray, you know? Its effects weren't that bad. And I thought they were pretty good. Original TOS did not look that good just because the technology was not there at the time. Whereas by the 80s, you know, the ships looked okay. But Star Trek, you know, has never really been about the space battles. I mean, only now are they really about, you know, lightsaber fights. Oh, that'd be cool if they had lightsabers. Yeah, I don't care. I like Star Trek and Star Wars. But no, I did like the space battles, you know, in the new movies. But really, Star Trek has been about, you know, the character interactions and stuff like that. So, you know, not having super amazing, awesome space battles of great justice is not something that isn't... They've never really had them. Now, in DS9 they did, you know, the whole Dominion War thing, and they looked good, I thought. It was cool to see, you know, multiple wings of Galaxy-class starships flying around, defiant, kicking ass. But, you know, when Star Trek starts to get into, you know, warfare and stuff like that, it fails miserably. And I'll admit this, as a Star Trek fan, it fails bad because, you know, you got these writers, they know nothing about, you know, what it takes to be a successful military commander or anything like that. To the point where, you know, okay, I think one of the most infamous episodes when it came to Star Trek not understanding military tactics was the Siege of AR something or other. It's a DS9 episode. And in that episode, they're going around on the ground in Starfleet uniforms. No body armor, no nothing. Now, I know what some might say, so don't say it. The phasers, you know, make body armor useless. I call bullshit on that, so... I just do. And it's like, they should have, like, some body armor, but they don't have the budget for body armor, so they're just in the Starfleet uniform. So that makes Starfleet look really, really, really bad, you know? And really, you know, body armor might not work just because of, like, we might finish this, because I already have played through this, and I'm figuring it out. Oh, God, I remember this. I had a note. Oh, shit. Well, we might end it here, because I don't think I figured out how to finish this level here. And I had a no clip, and I'm playing Project Brutality, and I did not think to enable cheats. So, oh, well, we'll try our best. But no, it's like... in TNG, well, I don't think DS9 did that, but it would make sense if they did, because it's the same unit. So, like, you know, in TNG, the phasers are supposed to vaporize people. In TOS, they vaporize people, too, so it might be like, what good would the armor do if you vaporize the armor with the person inside of them, you know? But then, you know, there's writers who have said that, you can deflect the phaser beam and stuff like that. And that makes sense, you know? In fact, there was a book that did that. I think... What was that book called? I read it. I read it in my school library, actually. I was one of the few people who actually went to that thing. They had like 3 Star Trek books, and I read them all. And they were all DS9 books, believe it or not. And they weren't bad. One was about a poker game called, ironically enough, The Big Game, and another one was the one I'm thinking of, where DS9 gets attacked by a random alien of the week that has reflective armor but still uses guns. Oh, that's a great novel. By which I mean it's complete crap. Just because it makes the DS9 people look really, really stupid. And that's the thing about novels and TV show in general, is sometimes they make the characters who should know better look like complete dumbasses. Oh, come on, I don't want the fucking... Give me my shotgun back! A high-powered revolver is cool, but when I'm fighting demons from hell, I would like to have my automatic shotgun. Because I'd like to have me an auto-shotty in real life, but those things are fucking expensive. And honestly, I already have plenty of shotguns anyway, but oh well. Okay, what the fuck am I doing in here? I'm going over here, I think. Okay, but yeah, let's save, actually. So we don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. But anyway, no, that book, whatever that book's called, where the aliens can deflect phaser beams with their armor, really made the DS9 crew look like dumbasses. I'm talking like, even back then, when I was like 14 or however old I was, that was before I would really criticize things like I do today. Okay, where the hell do we go? Okay, let's go in here and see where over here leads us. That leads us to the blue door. I don't remember this area, so maybe I need to come back here. Shit, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, even then I was like, just make some fucking guns already! Although back in that era, I never swore. But that is basically what I wanted to shout, is make some fucking guns! You have replicators! Replicate a fucking 1911 or something! That's the gun that came to my mind at the time. But they never did! Until it was too late, and then the replicators didn't fucking work. Because, like, okay, you know what their amazing solution to phaser-proof armor was? Overload the phaser and throw it at them! Instead of going, to the fucking replicator and typing in 1911 plus bullets, and having it go and be done? No, and then, okay. It gets better. It gets better, ladies and gentlemen. Alright. So, they finally grow a brain, even though they should already have one. Okay? They're like, alright, we need some fucking guns. Although they didn't say it quite like that. But we need some fucking guns. So, what's the most powerful gun that we have in the database? Called Klingon Window Panes. It's like, dude, why do you need the most powerful gun? Just make some fucking AKs. Okay? Mission accomplished. Alright? It's just, you guys are supposed to be Starfleet officers. You're not supposed to have the intelligence of 2. Alright? So, you're supposed to be smarter than Packlids. But of course, they don't. They don't do it. They just, fucking, yeah, the whole, it's one of those, it's a time travel book, too. It's a time travel episode that doesn't need to be a time travel episode. If they just made, some fucking guns, they wouldn't have these problems. It's one of those books that, it's like a time travel thing. It's like, the aliens have like a temporal distress beacon and they trying to find the guy that's on the station, and ultimately the station gets blown up. Okay, but they warn themselves to go back in time and stop it. It's like, that is the stupidest plot I've read since the last stupidest Star Trek plot I've read. And there's a lot of stupid Star Trek plots. As much as I love Star Trek, as much as anybody loves Star Trek, it's one of those shows that when bad writing shows up, it's really bad. Because it's a sci-fi show, And don't tell me that transporters are impossible. Warp drive is impossible. The ship should go at, like, 1/3 impulse, and literally nothing ever happens. Okay, I'm talking like just logical inconsistencies in the show itself. It's like, okay, you have to go warp drive to get anywhere. You have to. That's something that you should not be able to debate. Okay, and then like there was one book I tried to read but couldn't. It's Space Pirates, and don't tell me Space Pirates are impossible. Because you know what? Okay, everything's impossible, and if you even woke up in the Star Trek universe, you would literally just explode. Okay, no. The thing is, they got Space Pirates. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Space Pirates. I'm down with that, as the kids today would say. Only problem is, his spaceship is supposed to be only impulse. Okay. That doesn't work. Okay, so he's gonna take like years to get anywhere? Are you joking? No, he'd probably take more than years. Centuries to get anywhere. Are you joking? Come on, just say he has a fucking warp drive. It's 2 words. Warp drive. But do they do it? No. And it's other things too. It's like in the DS9 they had like this really cool gun that shot bullets through the transporter. Okay, first off, if you're not going to use that really cool gun you just came up with that's better than a phaser in literally every way, and seeing as how you have replicators, you should be able to replicate a shitload of them, don't bring it up. That's one of the things. It's like, okay, instead of trying to make some of these things make sense, just don't bring it up. Isn't that the easiest thing to do? If it doesn't make sense in context, don't bring it up. Just don't talk about it. Don't bring up the cool transporter assault rifle. Don't do it. Because you'll sound like a fucking idiot when you don't use it. But of course they do. Because it sounded really cool in that episode. And that's really the problem with any of these things. It's like, it's like little logical inconsistencies that you see in movies as well. It's like, you could have, and when I think about it, it's like, okay, you don't have to try to justify it or have it make sense. But instead of just not justifying it and doing it anyway, why don't you just, you know, not do it? That's the simplest thing, isn't it? In my opinion, you know, it's just don't do it. It's where if you don't have to do something, don't do it. And it's like, okay, Terminator 4, that's a good example of one of those. T4. They have a really stupid scene where, and this is such an old, it's not an old movie, but it's one that you probably know, that the guy who was in Avatar, whose name I forget, that guy, he's like the Terminator, right? But it's supposed to be this big secret. Okay, now we got a problem. How do we keep it a secret? Well, let's have him act normal, like a normal human, because he doesn't know he's a Terminator. Have him act like a normal human all throughout the movie until the big reveal. Okay, well, they kind of fucked it up. Because they have him fall from a moving airplane and skipping across the water like a bloody rock. Okay. How about you just don't have that scene? How about you have something a little more reasonable that still looks cool? You know, it's like, you can still have rule of cool, but at least have it make a little bit of sense. There's so many different ways you can do a lot of different things. You know, like Wrath of Khan is a good example of a movie that they did more with less. They didn't have a bunch of outlandish stunts. They didn't have, you know, old Kirk, you know, fighting Khan in a fist fight. Because realistically, Khan, being a genetically augmented human, would be able to kick Kirk's ass. No matter how many shirts that got ripped, okay? So just don't do it. It doesn't make any sense. You know? Have him be, you know, on a ship. Because that's technically... That's one of the things about Star Trek. You just kind of got to let go. It's like, why would the first officer go down? Doesn't he have, like, a whole staff for that? You know? But you just kind of got to let that go. Because he's part of the main... He's part of the main cast. Okay, you're paying him the big bucks. What are you going to do? Just sit on the ship? Yeah, that's bullshit. I was behind the door. But, you know, it's just one of those things. It's like, eventually you just kind of want the show to make a little more sense than it does. Because I like Star Trek. I like it when Star Trek makes sense. And I can get behind warp drive and transporters. Like, okay, you know, my thought is this. I get that these days the transporter is often mocked because it's like, would it take more energy than existed since the universe began? Okay, probably, but at the same time, could it be that they just discovered some way to transport somebody that doesn't require that? I mean, is that not in the realm of possibility? I'm just saying. Maybe I'm just too scientifically illiterate, right? I am from Texas, after all. 2 plus 2 is 5 lights, right? Although I do find that funny that... funny I should mention that. People talking about Texas like saying everybody here's stupid. Texas has a massive manufacturing industry here. Meaning that you have to have extremely skilled labor. Like, you can't just have somebody go, I'm offended by this machine. Okay, where the fuck do I go in here? I'm offended by this machine, I should get everything for free. You know, you can't do that. And so, it's like, Texas literally cannot be half as stupid as people say they are and still have an economy. But whatever, that's just how it goes. But like, that's the thing about, you know, skilled labor, or skilled professions of any description. They can't be stupid because it requires complex thought and things of that nature. And then, of course, there's the Texas medicine that's here. You know, people like to say that that's bad, but then again, we have some of the foremost medical practitioners here. But once again, you know, Texas is dumb because reasons. Texas is dumb because we just think they're a bunch of stupid rednecks. Despite the fact that I'm pretty sure most people that think Texas is dumb could probably not even find Texas on a map. It's like in the Caspian Sea. Oh, but yes. That is enough politicking for one day. Well, I kind of regret those politicking videos. This is kind of depressing. Talking about politicking. You know, there's actually some really interesting science fiction that I've read recently by a guy named Christopher Nuttall. That's like super. It's one of those novels that he's one of those guys that like really makes his stuff. He does his research is what he does to try to make really plausible universes. And we don't know. FTL might exist. We don't know. I mean, did anyone think that you could carry a computer the size of a pack of cigarettes in your pocket and have it be more powerful than computers just 5 years prior to its invention. You know, there's things like that. But his books are very depressing because he talked about the failure of complex systems, which is always frightening because some of that stuff is going on today, which isn't good. There's the exit. Now we gotta find a fucking switch. It is possibly in here. Could it be in here? And once again, as you can see, you know, this is a very awesome set of WODs. As you can see, these levels are nice and complex and very challenging. Very, very challenging. I thought about reviewing Freedoom at some point, and I still might, you know. Just not anytime soon, though. Okay, I just came from here. It's not anytime soon, though, because I really do want to focus more on The Doom 2016. Okay, where the hell was that? So this whole map has been taking 13 minutes. Okay, so it's not back here. It's got to be in here. No. Okay, see now I'm all turned around because of the fucking teleporters. In here. Now is it just gonna lead me back to wherever I am here? AGM. That's the Freedoom company. You think they're as bad as... So wait a minute, they're like the AMD equivalent to UAC, I love that. They're UAC AMD's competitor. You know, like, Intel's, you know, teleporters are faster, or no, UAC's teleporters are faster, but, you know, I would say that I already forgot the name of the company. I'm really getting tired. I hope this is like the end. This is going to be the last level, because I'm already a bit exhausted. AMG, is that AMG? I know I just read it, but like if that's AMG, that is kind of like AMD, isn't it? So that whole comparison, oh, it's AGM. Ah, well. I'd buy an AGM if I could. In fact, I'm still running an AMD processor. Because AMD is cheap, but good. And that guy just blew up a fucking grenade in my face. That is not as good. Alright. So, yeah, I'm thinking I might cut this level short so I'm not going to get a headache. That's what happens when I decide to record at night. Because of listening to Jack Black and then ranting about Star Trek and all of that. Star Trek, the next generation. Hee-haw, the next generation. Ah, the critic. Whatever happened to the guy who played the voice of that guy? I honestly haven't... I forget his name. I know his name. Jon Lovitz, that's his name. That's who played the critic voice. And also he was an actor in a variety of films, although I couldn't tell you what they were. Actually, that reminds me, from years ago, there was a comment that like was literally just somebody posting the name Jon Lovitz, because I guess my name being John Lotz is somewhat remotely similar. I'm so dead. I am just so dead, it's not even funny. I'm really hoping when we get these lag spikes that it's not desyncing that audio. I really hope not. Okay, let's reload, shall we? Now, it would be kind of cool if there was like 2 different shotguns in Doom 2016. Like the auto-shotty, because this is still... The auto-shotty is just so good. These levels are just massive. This is free! 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 Free. I don't know why I'm saying free. We can take our lives, but we cannot take our freedom! You know, that movie's not that bad, but Braveheart is so historically inaccurate, it's not even funny. Like, it is not even funny how historically inaccurate it is. That really made some Scottish people mad. Although, wait, is that movie about the Irish or the Scots? Ah, well, they're the same thing. Let's see, I don't know. Does anybody know that I was actually joking about that? Although I legitimately can't remember which one it was. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not going to say stupid American because my college GPA would say otherwise, I should say. Because unlike others, I did not spend my entire time partying. Well, I didn't spend any time partying, actually. But actually studying. And so I'm sorry. Scottish and Irish people if I can't remember which country was portrayed in Braveheart. I think it was the Scottish people because they were like, oh yeah, because they had like the kilts, but they didn't wear kilts. They wore something else, but I can't remember what it was. But see, I knew. Go fuck yourself. That's all I'll say. This doesn't have the fuck yourself key. It has a much better fuck yourself key where you punch somebody and stab them with a machete. Machete kills. In space! That should be made. I'd see it. Oh man, these levels are massively long. And it's one of those games where I get sucked into it. God damn it, fuck you, Assault Gunner. I hate those guys. Because like, they will drop a grenade and they will kill you like faster than you can possibly believe. You know, go fuck yourself, Imp. Alright, I am done for the day. I am tired. And Doom Guy, no, Brutal Doom Guy, Project Brutality Guy is tired as well. Mainly because he's missing all of his blood. So in any event, I am GeneralLotz. And I shall catch you guys later. Actually, that's not my catchphrase. And so, this is GeneralLotz. I'm going to wish you good Project Brutality for the millionth time, and good Doom 2016 for the millionth time, or whatever makes you happy.